Teofimo Lopez has allowed himself to be used. The unified world lightweight champion is in a situation where the upcoming fight with George Kambosos has now been put in jeopardy. How do we arrive at this point? We have to discuss what's going on in boxing overall and what's happening at the lightweight division with the championship belts. This is a tale of a serpent with two heads. What's good, YouTube? This is Stormy B-Man, and I'm back with another pre-fight video breakdown editorial. Before we get started, let me say shout out to the LDBC, the Lions Den boxing community, and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, and share. Veteran promoter Bob Arum is in the driver's seat in boxing, especially when it comes to world title fights. The 90-year-old plus promoter is pulling rank once again, where we have seen him swoop in with fights that have been on the table and stir up controversy that makes people focus more in on the fighters than what's actually upholding or holding up the fighters' careers. And Arum seems to be at the center of this each and every time these things happen. Currently, unified champion Teofimo Lopez is in a situation where he was supposed to be taking on his #1 contender, George Kambosos. And after defeating Vasily Lomachenko, Lopez was looking for options where he could cash in on being a unified champion. Kambosos was a mandatory fight, so he was looking to fight him and maximize his income while doing so. And we know the penny-pinching Bob Arum was not looking to assist in that. So the fight was put to purse bid. As we saw that take place, there was a press conference. We saw face-offs and everything where Lopez, who was acting a bit odd, the takeover didn't seem to be the world champion as confident as he was going into the Lomachenko fight, now as unified champion. He seems to be a bit unsettled in his demeanor. Kambosos, who's thinking very little of Lopez at this particular time, as a veteran fighter himself, is seeking to unseat the champion. He feels that he can exploit youth and inexperience that Lopez possesses at this time, and he may be right. Lopez didn't fare very well towards the end of his fight with Lomachenko. As the fight got into the later and championship rounds and Lomachenko upped the pressure, Lopez seemed a little bit unconfident in how to handle and cope with the circumstances after carrying so many of the earlier rounds due to the inactivity of Vasily. I'm sure that George Kambosos, like a lot of us, watched that fight and recognize the shortcomings in Teofimo Lopez. He doesn't respond well when people are very aggressive with him. He's been in a situation where some of his confidence was shaken even when he took on Masayoshi Nakatani. And in that fight from July of 2019, we saw him at the end of the fight say that he didn't want to take on any tall fighters anymore because Nakatani had given him such a good go during that fight. He was challenged, and he didn't respond well to the challenge. Now, for the Kambosos fight, in swoops Triller, who won the purse bid for this fight, and they thought that they would utilize Lopez and Kambosos as a launching pad for a championship caliber pay-per-view, and this was going to help them and their brand as they surge forward in boxing as a new guard and a new outlet for fighters to fight on their platform. Bob Arum, who refused to give any leeway to Lopez, had threatened that Lopez was not going to get through this without paying a cost. And Bob Arum stating words like that, you can take it as a threat, because Bob has been in the game a very long time, and he is not one who will sit quietly and allow someone to upstage him in what he's doing. So, what does Bob do? The unified champion, who has been seen around at public venues and taking vacations and enjoying himself, suddenly had a situation come on the horizon where his fight had to be delayed. The Kambosos fight was put on ice, postponed. Now, why was it postponed? They were saying initially that he had come down with a serious case of C19. Pump the brakes a moment. C19. Reported by various sport outlets, Teofimo was on holiday in Italy with his spouse, enjoying himself. C19? Postponement? Is it any wonder that the recent fight that we saw Vasily Lomachenko come back and take on the same man who had given Teofimo a hard go, Masayoshi Nakatani, and beat the crap out of Nakatani in far better fashion than we had seen Teo's performance? All of a sudden, Vasily is back, and guess whose graces that he happens to be in the happy awaiting arms of? You guessed it, old Bob. Bob Arum, who seems to be able to control matters in the state of affairs when it comes to boxing and championship caliber fights with these young hopefuls, guys who have not really made superstardom. Bob controls a lot more than what people want to give him credit for. Yes, he may be 90 plus years old, but his fingerprint on the sport of boxing finds him constantly having a say-so. Remember Deontay Wilder's championship fight against Tyson Fury? After the first fight was declared a draw, Deontay Wilder wanted to exercise an opportunity to have a rematch. Tyson Fury goes and signs with Bob Arum in a multi-fight deal that will see him not fight Deontay in an immediate rematch, but take on a couple of other fighters that no one had even heard of at the time. Bob Arum and his influence. Being a guy on this side of the pond, meaning the Americas, where he would promote Fury in this part of the world, since Fury had no way to fight in Europe anymore, in England specifically, due to his license being not renewed. Let's talk about Mr. Kambosos in all of this. The man who was the mandatory challenger and looking forward to fighting Teofimo Lopez. He's being left in the dark after bringing his family over, training for this fight, and looking very good in training, by the way. The reports were Kambosos was zeroed in on Teofimo Lopez and was really looking to put on a performance worthy of snatching the titles away from Lopez. So when someone says or talks about C19, you have to take a step back and look at the seriousness of it. But when photos and social media expose the fact that maybe, just maybe, it was not true what was happening with Lopez, imagine the bitterness of Kambosos. Imagine all of the focus, all of the spirit, all of the money spent for a camp, the intensity, preparing for a battle. Sounds familiar? Remember Fury, Wilder 3, and Bob Arum being at the root of that? Think about it, people. Kambosos was putting himself in optimum position. Now, there are reports that the fight was put on ice because the tickets and the sales were not up to par. If they were not up to par, who could you blame for that? Would you blame T.O.? Would you blame Triller? Would you blame Kambosos? You could possibly blame Arum. He seems to be the man, always in the midst of things. But this is something that you're gonna have to watch out for. Bob Arum is playing both ends against the middle. He has Vasily Lomachenko. He has Teofimo Lopez. Lomachenko wanted his rematch with Lopez. Even though Kambosos was put in place as a mandatory challenger for one of the titles, Vasily deserved his rematch. And remember, Teofimo originally said he wouldn't fight him. But since Vasily looked so great against Nakatani, and since Teofimo did not look so great against him, it's looking more and more like Kambosos is the man on the outside looking in. This man may be pushed aside as Bob Arum once again works his serpent-like demeanor in the ring. Merriam-Webster's definition of a serpent is archaic, a noxious creature that creeps, hisses, or stings. A devil, a snake, or a treacherous person. Sound familiar? Does this sound like the virtues that surround boxing when you talk about promoters? Think about it. Playing both ends against the middle. Who's in the middle or at the center of the photo that you see here? Think about it. These men are being played, and so is the boxing public. Remember, Bob said fans are like rocks. You can kick them in any direction. Okay? And yesterday I was lying. Today I'm telling you the truth. This is what he thinks of you. Let him know what you think of him. The next promotion that comes up, consider your dollar and where you'll spend it. This is Stormy B Man. Leave thoughts and comments. Let me know what you think about this. A tale of a serpent with two heads. That's all I have for you at this time. Until the next time we speak, everyone remain safe. Peace.